Americans are opting out because they don't want abusive jobs. They don't want to be denied job security, living wages, benefits, and working conditions. And that was brought home really hard in this pandemic, where workers were labeled essential so that they could be at the workplace where they were exposed to disease. And also because it was a pandemic, they didn't get higher salaries. We all were supposed to have sacrificed, even though America's top 10 billionaires made $400 billion out of this pandemic. In the words of a very articulate John Deere worker, he said, "Hey, we were deemed essential in 2020. Prove it in 2021. Pay up." People have opted out, which is kind of like a strike in itself. We're not doing this. In the two of the lowest paid sectors in the United States. One is recreation, waiters and waitresses, people who work in hotels. The average salary for a waitress is $22,000 a year. And they can be paid a sub-minimum wage on the assumption that they'll make it all up in wages, which of course they don't. Meanwhile, they're subjected to contagious and often difficult customers, and they don't want to do it. The same with people who work in hotels and the low-paid people in healthcare. They're another sector opting out, another part of that 4.5 million people. And they are the home health workers, the orderlies, the custodians at the hospital, the nurses' aides. They don't want to put up with contagious customers for low wages. It's not worth the threat of death. And so they're saying no. They're opting out. They also didn't get sufficient COVID protections. So why put up with that? Why risk your life? The most amazing testimony to the possibility of America and American workers is that now they are opting out. They haven't been this militant since the late 1800s and 1905 to 1918. Something's changing here. Workers are preparing to strike after rejecting new contracts, even ones that are okayed to present by their unions. Kaiser Permanente, biggest healthcare organization in California, has 38,000 of its healthcare workers, including nurses, on strike. 1,400 Kellogg's workers in Nebraska were striking over poor pay and benefits. The John Deere workers are 12,000 workers at John Deere who decided to strike because they didn't get what they wanted. And their union sold them short, they felt. 1,000 striking workers got a contract at Rite Aid and CVS in Los Angeles. In the United Food and Commercial Workers, they got 10% food raises in their paychecks, as well as improved benefits, because they went on strike. And when companies don't comply with their demands, workers now have leverage. When they act as a collective bargaining unit by themselves. Companies are flush with the profits they made. John Deere made $15 billion and doesn't want to give its workers a raise or any concession. But people know that. They're not putting up with it anymore. Taken together, this union militance with mass resignations and work stoppages and demonstrations reveal a huge dissatisfaction with American corporate capitalism, and people have had it. American workers are flexing their power And CEOs in America are worried.